Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. When you think of samurai, what comes to mind? Maybe it's the iconic katana, the intricate armor, or those epic movie battles. We often see them as symbols of a bygone era, figures of honor and martial prowess. But what if I told you the story of the real last samurai isn't just a tale from ancient history? It's a complex, dramatic, and ultimately tragic story of a man caught between the old world and the new. Today we're diving deep into the life of Saigo Takamori, the man widely considered to be Japan's true last samurai. His story is more than just a fight for tradition. It's a powerful lesson about loyalty, change, and the painful birth of modern Japan. So who was Saigo Takamori? To understand him, we need to go back to the mid-19th century. Japan had been closed off from the world for over 200 years under the Tokugawa shogunate. Society was rigid, with the samurai class at the top. Saigo was born in 1828 in the Satsuma domain, a powerful region in southern Japan. From a young age, he was a mountain of a man, not just physically imposing but also possessing immense charisma and a strong sense of duty. He was a low-ranking samurai, but his talents couldn't be ignored. He quickly rose through the ranks, becoming a key figure in Satsuma politics. He was a man of contrasts, a skilled military commander and a thoughtful poet, a fierce warrior who loved children and dogs. He embodied the samurai ideal of Bunbu Ryoro, the twin paths of the sword and the pen. The world outside Japan was changing rapidly, and those changes were about to crash onto Japan's shores. In 1853, American Commodore Matthew Perry arrived with his black ships, using a show of force to demand that Japan open its ports to trade. This event sent shockwaves through the country. The shogunate, which had ruled for centuries, seemed weak and unable to stand up to these foreign powers. This sparked a period of intense turmoil. Many, including Saigo, believed the shogunate had failed in its duty to protect Japan. A powerful movement called Sanjie, revere the emperor, expel the barbarians, gained momentum. Saigo Takamori became one of its most influential leaders. He wasn't against all foreign ideas, but he was fiercely dedicated to restoring the emperor to real power and strengthening Japan on its own terms. Saigo's political career was a roller coaster. He was exiled not once but twice to remote islands. During these lonely years he spent time in deep contemplation, reading and refining his philosophies. But his skills were too valuable to be wasted. He was eventually recalled to lead Satsuma's military forces. Here's where things get interesting. Initially, Satsuma and their rivals, the Choshu domain, were bitter enemies. But Saigo, a brilliant strategist, saw the bigger picture. He helped forge the Sacho alliance, uniting these two powerful domains against their common enemy, the Tokugawa shogunate. This alliance was the tipping point. With Saigo leading the imperial forces, they marched on the shogunal capital of Edo, which is now Tokyo. The Boshin War began. In a move that showcased his character, Saigo negotiated a bloodless surrender of Edo Castle, saving countless lives and the city from destruction. In 1868, the shogunate fell and the Meiji Restoration began. The emperor was restored to power and a new era of modernization dawned. You might think this is where Saigo's story becomes a triumphant one. He was a national hero, one of the three great nobles of the Restoration. He became a key figure in the new Meiji government, holding high-ranking positions. He helped create a new conscript army, essentially a modern military force. But this is where the tragedy begins. The very changes he helped bring about started to conflict with his core samurai values. The Meiji government was moving at a breathtaking pace. They were abolishing the samurai class, stripping them of their privileges, their right to wear swords, and their stipends. For Saigo, this was a betrayal. He saw the samurai as the moral backbone of the nation, and he felt the government was casting them aside in its rush to westernize. The soul of Japan, he believed, was being lost. The final straw came over a debate about Korea. Saigo proposed a plan where he would personally go to Korea as an envoy. He knew the mission was dangerous and that he would likely be killed. His hope was that his death would provide Japan with a just cause to engage with Korea, giving the restless samurai a noble purpose. It was a very samurai way of thinking, a selfless act for the greater good. But the other leaders in the government, who had just returned from a trip to the West, saw it as reckless and foolish. They were focused on internal modernization, not foreign adventures. His plan was rejected. Deeply disillusioned, Saigo resigned from all his government posts and returned home to Satsuma in 1873. Back in Satsuma, Saigo became a reluctant figurehead. He established private schools that focused on traditional samurai training and values. Thousands of discontented, unemployed samurai flocked to him. He was their hero, their last hope in a world that no longer had a place for them. Tensions between Satsuma and the central government in Tokyo reached a boiling point. The government, fearing an uprising, tried to seize an arsenal in Satsuma. This was the spark that lit the powder keg. Saigo's followers, without his initial approval, rose up in rebellion. Faced with the choice of abandoning his men or leading them in a hopeless fight, Saigo chose loyalty. He couldn't turn his back on the samurai who had placed their faith in him. In 1877, Saigo Takamori led the Satsuma rebellion. It was the old Japan against the new. Samurai armed with swords and traditional weapons, led by the greatest warrior of their age, against the Meiji government's new, modern, conscript army, equipped with rifles and cannons. The very army that Saigo himself had helped to create. For several months, they fought a series of brutal battles. Despite their courage and Saigo's brilliant leadership, the outcome was never really in doubt. The modern army's superior numbers and firepower were overwhelming. The rebellion was pushed back, and Saigo and his last few hundred loyal followers were surrounded on a hill called Shiroyama, overlooking their home city of Kagoshima. The final Battle of Shiroyama is the stuff of legend. Outnumbered more than 60-1, the last samurai made their final stand. As dawn broke, they charged downhill into a storm of bullets. Saigo was severely wounded. According to the accounts, he performed seppuku the ritual suicide of a samurai, with one of his loyal retainers assisting him. With his death, the Satsuma rebellion ended, and the samurai class was extinguished forever. The age of the samurai was officially over. But the story of Saigo Takamori was just beginning. The very government that had crushed him paradoxically turned him into a national hero. They recognized that while his rebellion was a threat, his spirit embodied the traditional virtues that Japan wanted to carry into the modern world: loyalty, courage, and self-sacrifice. In 1889, the Meiji Emperor posthumously pardoned him. Today, Saigo Takamori is remembered not as a traitor but as a tragic hero. A famous statue of him stands in Ueno Park in Tokyo, depicting him walking his dog, a symbol of his private, gentle nature, not his warrior side. He remains one of the most beloved and respected figures in Japanese history. His story is a powerful reminder that progress often comes at a great cost. He was a man of the past, fighting for his vision of the future, who was ultimately consumed by the very changes he helped to set in motion. He wasn't just the last samurai. He was a bridge between two worlds, and his legacy continues to fascinate us to this day. What do you think? Was Saigo a rebel fighting a lost cause, or a hero trying to preserve the soul of his nation? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed this journey into history, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our next video. See you next time.